welcome back to Elful Deco. Today I will show you how I dome my pieces. Doming is just adding a top coat of resin on top of your pieces, and that will make the piece extra shiny and cover any imperfections that comes from the inclusions and like bubbles and stuff. And I've been doing this in my previous videos as like just steps in the process, but I wanted to dedicate an entire video just for doming. That way I can go through it step by step and clearer and give you any tips and tricks that I may have missed. For this tutorial, I am going to dome a cloud and a mountain. I just want to show you what they look like straight out of the mold first. I've used this cloud mold many times already, so you can see that the piece is slightly matte, and I also scratched my mold in the creating process before, so it's reflecting on all of my pieces now, and that's why it's best to top coat this to cover up the imperfections. The mountain is still fairly shiny, but there is a bubble on the moth, and so the top coat will fill in the bubble and leave a flat surface on this mountain. Before we resin these pieces, we are going to protect the back from resin drips with Elmer's glue. Sometimes resin drips over the edge of the piece and onto the back, leaving droplets that needs to be sanded down if you want the back of your piece to be flat, which you would most likely want. With the layer of glue, any resin that drips to the back will stick to the glue instead of the back of your piece, and you will be able to peel the layer of glue off after your top coat has cured. And the resin drips will come off with the glue. This may sound confusing if you can't picture it, but just watch and see. To apply the glue, I just poured some onto the back of my pieces and used a silicone brush to spread the glue across the entire piece evenly. You can also use liquid latex for this step, but glue is a lot more affordable. Once I am done, I will let these dry, and it usually takes about 12 to 18 hours for me, depending on how thick the layer of glue is. For the doming, I always use Total tabletop resin. It's a higher viscosity resin and also meant for coating tabletops, as the name states. Our piece is like our tabletop here. And here's what the back of the piece looks like once the glue has dried. I'm just placing the pieces on top of some cups for this process. That way any resin that falls off the edge won't ruin the sides or possibly even the piece itself. I am just moving my cups around, making sure that they are evenly spaced so that my piece is level for this doming process. Here I already have my resin mixed up. I usually mix it up first and let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes for any of the bubbles to rise to the surface. I do this with all of my resins to help minimize the bubbles in my pieces. Now for the doming process, I pour some resin onto the middle of the piece and drag the resin to the edge with my mixing stick. I go all the way around, making sure the entire piece is covered, and I will slowly add more resin if needed. I don't purposely go over the edges, so I make sure I'm not pouring too much, but you can if you want to or need to go over the edges. Once the entire piece is covered, I will go over the surface of my piece with a heat gun to pop any bubbles. I usually stick around for several minutes in case more bubbles show up. I just want to show you the piece at eye level. Please don't mind my mess in the background. Focus on the cloud and you will see that dome layer, and underneath you see a drop of resin that has dripped over the edge. But look at that shiny top coat. I let my pieces fully cure for about 24 hours. And you can see there are some drops of resin that spilled over the edges here, so let's clean that up first. To remove the glue, I try to find a glue bubble to pick at with a sharp tool to create an opening. I do this very carefully to avoid scratching my piece, and the bubble helps with this because I'm not directly poking on my piece. Once I have a spot for me to peel the glue off, I just peel and the resin drips come right off with it. I usually like to pour a thicker layer of glue to make it easier to peel off in one piece, and the glue peeling also makes some satisfying content for Instagram. I am just wiping off what seems to be like glue residue. I've never seen this on my piece, but it seems to come right off. And look at how gorgeous that cloud is. The surface is completely flat and shiny, and you no longer see the scratch mark on the cloud that was there when I first demolded. Now we are going to repeat the process for the mountain. It was actually a bit difficult to find an opening for this, but I just found a very small bubble and started picking at it. And once I create the opening, I'm just peeling the tape off, and you can see that resin drip. Like I mentioned before, you can use liquid latex for this process, and I think it would peel much easier, but the glue is a lot cheaper. It's like $15 for a pound of liquid latex versus $15 for a gallon of glue, which is over 8 pounds. You can try both if you like though. Anyways, look at this mountain. Look at how shiny and smooth the surface is. Even though my mold was still shiny, it really doesn't beat the top coat. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this doming tutorial helpful, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out a lot. And let me know down in the comments below if you use any other techniques for finishing up your pieces. And I'll see you next time.